sure if the changing of the seasons is doing something weird to Canadian politicians. Well, weirder. But the shit really seems to be hitting the fan in the last week. And the fun part is it's getting spread around a little bit. So that's right, those of you who think that I'm a socialist just because I go after hardcore conservatives a lot, I'm actually going to attack a Liberal Ontario leader and a federal Conservative leader. Take notes, Sun Media, that's what being fair and balanced really means. Here in Ontario, a lot of noise is being made about our hydro bills. In no particular order, our hydro fees have been going up a lot lately because of these so-called smart meters that Dalton McGuinty wants to put on our homes, even though they've admitted they don't always work. And if it's not the wacky meter screwing things up, it's a so-called harmonized sales tax, which has only made everything more expensive than it was before. Then we found out that many hydro companies in Ontario directly finance the election campaigns of several Liberals, whether they were in the same area or not. Then, just this past week, the McGuinty government had the balls to try to tell us that we were going to save money on our hydro with a 10% rebate, even though our rates are going to increase by 40 or 50% over the next 5 years, and will double in the next 20 right in time for another recession. This is similar to how they also said they were increasing the amount of time going to the cheaper off-peak window, but that won't happen until the spring when we're all done using our furnaces. And now, Premier McGuinty, Finance Minister Dwight Duncan, and Energy Minister Brad Dogood, pause for irony, and their supporters are all pompously telling us that we will have to live with it. Seriously, what the fuck is wrong with these people? I hate to be that blunt about it, but I don't know what else to ask. Are they trying to lose the next election? And the best excuse for this that they can muster, despite knowing damn well that people are already itching to throw them into the street, is that this is what we will have to do to invest in greener energy sources. Well, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad if you guys didn't promise to convert the province to that by 2014, a lot sooner than previously said, by the way, and in any case done fuck all about it until right around now. That's so unrealistic as to be just plain stupid. It's like being so bound and determined to have a hot tub right now that you pour all of your money into getting it right now, even if you have to go hungry and not pay the mortgage for a little bit. See how well that will work, by the way. Maybe McGuinty and his condescending dick ministers don't get this, but the country is in a recession, and Ontario is not exactly the economic giant it used to be. Many of us are at or under the poverty line, especially those who are retired, on disability, or like me, stuck in only part-time jobs. How the hell do they really expect people to just hand over all of this money and be alright with it? What do they think is going to happen to our businesses and infrastructure? At this point, all these promises about fixing our power grid will be academic. Long before that 2014 deadline, the Liberals will be thrown out, and very likely the whole thing will just be scrapped altogether. If the next government is smart, they'll just say to the public that this tight deadline was a bad idea and extend another 10 or 15 years with work being done all the way instead of putting it off like these twits did. But let's face it, that's probably not going to happen. More likely, what I see happening is that a lot of taxpayers are leaving the province, and the poor suckers left behind will be literally nickel and dime to death. If you think I'm crazy, and some people already do, ask yourself what will happen when millions of Ontarians find themselves unable to pay for the heat, especially during the brutal winter months. People will either have to shut off their hydro altogether, or avoid doing much of anything else in order to pay for the hydro. That means businesses will suffer, that means students can't afford college, our overall quality of life will go down the crapper, etc. And just imagine what it's going to be like for schools and hospitals. They'll have to either shut down, operate in appalling conditions, or cut back on services a lot in order to keep the lights and heat on. This one bad idea could easily cause a chain reaction that practically destroys the entire province. So I urge everyone watching this video to do what I did and speak out to provincial politicians, every single one of them that you can find right now. And if you can print it, even better. Snail mail is a lot harder to ignore than email. On another note, to the surprise of very few, Stephen Harper and his Conservative federal government have once again shot down a vote in Parliament and given the finger to democracy. And they've done this twice. First, as I previously stated, Harper is breaking his own promise to hold free votes on our mission in Afghanistan by just arbitrarily deciding that we'll be there for another few years. Granted, the Liberal Party likes this extension as well, so on a practical level a vote wouldn't make any difference, but that's not the point. This is something that should damn well be decided by all of our elected members of Parliament, and the Prime Minister has said, no, don't really feel like it. Also, despite the fact that Canada is going to be going to a climate change summit in less than a month, Harper ordered the Conservative-dominated Senate to kill a bill on our climate policy without even looking at it. Just like that, our elected representatives, and symbolically 85% of Canadians, were thwarted by unelected hacks on orders from the most autocratic Prime Minister we've ever seen. And before anyone goes after me about Chrétien, even he never pulled a stunt like this. In fact, nobody in Ottawa has done anything this blatantly anti-democratic in 80 years. Until now, our leaders knew better than that. Now they just laugh and smugly tell us that it's legal, so they're doing whatever the hell they want. I seriously hope that Canadians, especially in Ontario, remember all of this in the next election, assuming that Harper doesn't find a way to pull the plug on those, too. I, for one, am sick and tired of this country not standing up for itself. Not only is our freedom and livelihood at stake, but for some of us, our very lives might be. So, wake up, will you? That's it for me.